It was very important to see because Argentina gave us a couple of lessons. If you go through the direct employment approach, you don't have to wait for GDP to grow for the jobs to come. The unemployment rate fell precipitously, directly and immediately. Usually, unemployment is a lagging indicator. You wait a very long time for it to recover, but you slog through jobless recoveries. In Argentina, the fall was immediate. Of course, it wasn't a universal program, so still the unemployment rate was elevated. But when you come down from double digits, 25, 30% down to 7, that's an extraordinary achievement. The second thing that Argentina taught us is that you can get programs up and running on pretty, short order. Within a few months, you can create community projects, useful projects that were valuable. And once I went and visited those projects, the kind of experience people got from the program, that was probably the most significant kind of finding for me, that people, yes, wanted employment. They did not want income. They felt empowered. They felt recognized. When you talk to the poorest and the most marginalized people and you hear their stories, you understand that that policy was with their concerns and considerations in mind. So participatory design, it was locally created. The communities designed the projects. So in many ways, I'm envisioning that, except not as a one-off, not as just a crisis policy, but something that is with us on an ongoing basis to provide employment when it's needed.
Economists often argue that something like this would lead to inflation because of its financing. But you said we don't have to choose between inflation and unemployment. What is it based on, that affirmation?
Yes, this is a canon. This is a very big precept in economics, that somehow we have a choice between either price stability or full employment. Yeah. And that is based on a concept within economics called the NAIRU, or the natural rate of unemployment. And the idea behind it is that if an economy is growing and unemployment is falling, at some point, it could reach a level where people will have enough income that they will start spending, they will start buying product, and that might increase prices of product. And so in a way, the NAIRU says that we can't go any further. We have to keep a certain pool of unemployed people unemployed so that we can curb their expenditure and their spending power. There is a trade-off. And that is, I think, a concept that, the average person doesn't really think about. Economists know this very well. Financially literate folks hear this concept, and they know that the government and the central bank steps on the brakes. They remove whatever stimulus they are offering to the economy whenever they believe that we have reached the natural level of unemployment. So maybe that's 5%. So that's the magic number of how many destitute people, how many people without work an economy should have. So think about this for a moment. We don't talk about a natural rate of homelessness.
Yes.
Right? We don't talk about natural rate of hunger. We don't say 5% of children should be hungry or should go to school. Yes. But somehow for unemployment, that is the narrative that economists tell. And they believe that we have to sacrifice jobs to tame prices. That, I think, is a bankrupt economic model, not just from a moral point of view, but from an economic point of view. We have an option. We have an employment option, which can act as an inflation stabilizer. And the program that I'm proposing basically says, when the economy is going in crisis, we add stimulus through employing the unemployed. When the economy is recovering, when the private sector is growing, the stimulus is removed automatically as people find better opportunities, better paid employment, and they no longer rely on this support. So it's an automatic stabilizer that is precisely anchored on unemployment, and it's anchored at the bottom, right? Because we're not offering employment at very high wages. We are offering employment at the base, living minimum wage, where the job shortage is the biggest.